The money ain't stopping, so I ain't easy. Hot boy gotta feed. Got drank by the lead. In the grill, I'ma lead. The money ain't stopping, so I ain't easy. Hot boy gotta The money ain't stopping, so I ain't easy. Hot boy gotta feed. Got drank by the lead. In the grill, I'ma lead. The money ain't stopping, so I ain't easy. Hot boy gotta
With all those, you'll trigger flowering real early with extra stress on those. I mean, you have to be real calculated with the way you train. You can't do the high stress training. I think it's probably better to do low stress on them. Whatever you can do to reduce the stress, you're going to get a better outcome. Is what I noticed.
Yeah. We live. We was muted again. But we here. This is the Unrelatable Podcast, episode 1, man. The mic was muted, man, but that's how the shit go when you live, man. Shout out to the gang, man. Team ZAZA in the building. We came to talk post-zygotic isolation. And we'll explain a little bit about what post-zygotic isolation is. And for now, we just want to basically get to a good understanding of natural selection in general. Because to understand post-zygotic isolation, right? When we think in terms of the word isolation, that's having to do with selection. And that's overall what you'll be doing as a breeder. You'll be selecting and isolating. Like, that's the most important. That's basically what you do. That's most of your work right there, is knowing what traits to isolate, segregate, whether you're removing or whether you're trying to stabilize an input within your line. Either way, you got to know how to isolate and segregate traits. So post-zygotic isolation occurs after members of two different species have mated and produced a zygote. We spoke earlier, before we had some audio issues, about just kind of what a zygote is, and it's just the offspring of a hybrid. That's it, which makes sense when you think in terms of heterozygote or heterozygosity, a zygote being the offspring. So offspring of a hybrid. In many cases, hybrids frequently are unable to reproduce themselves. So the production of a hybrid is not considered a successful mating in most cases. So it's and this is why pollen checking is looked at from an experienced breeder standpoint, is looked at as just, because it says it right there. Hybrids are frequently unable to reproduce themselves, so the production of a hybrid is not considered a successful mating. You're not a breeder just because you breed plant one with plant two. It doesn't make you a breeder. You haven't even started to breed yet. In the book of science, it tells you that doing that is not considered a successful mating. So you need to continue on and learning how to isolate and segregate traits so that you can work an inbred line properly. So y'all should be working some inbred lines soon, man. Anybody got anything in the works as far as breedings?
Yeah, I'm planning on taking that strawberry cough that I got and hitting it with the dead ops male and then crossing that into the skunk to make my IBO, which is going to be called Strawberry Roadkill.
Strawberry Roadkill?
Yeah.
I like that. Who else got some plans on creating some strength?
I've already got my inbred line going, so I've got dead ops times white gushers going, and it's
that's Bearded Buzzman talking.
15. Oh, my bad, Bearded Buzzman. But yeah, I've got 15 probably of its offspring going right now that are already going into veg tent, so they're a few weeks old right now.
Now, Jimmy got a whole bunch of sour diesel and stuff going. Now, y'all missed his whole intro. I mean, like I said, this is live, so we had a couple hiccups, couple technical difficulties. We had to restart about 2 times. I probably should have restarted this one too, because the first 15 seconds of the audio was muted. But all good, right? We live. We'll fix that. But y'all missed Jimmy's epic intro with the music and the dancing. That's probably why he like, man, fuck it. But Jimbo, you with us? I would like him to tell you about his sour. Maybe he'll come back when he might be busy. Yeah, the gang always got a whole bunch of cool stuff going on in the tent, man, and I'm always excited to hear about it. Dusky went over his garden earlier, which was super impressive, but y'all missed that as well. Dusky, you want to remind us what you got going on?
Yeah, so I had Straight A Genetics sent me 3 clones, a Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola?
1000 Coca-Cola.
Damn, that sounds crazy.
And you know what? I did the research, but I don't have the recall at the moment of what their lineage is.
Okay.
The Coca-Cola is nice. It's supposed to be, I think, a root beer GMO line. I can't remember with the T1000, and the Cherrytopia is just like a NorCal staple with Mendo and then Maraschino in the mix, the Maraschino Montage. So yeah, I just put those in a separate little area. I've had them going for a week now, and they're taken. And then the other tent, I got a couple autos. I got a Chef Anna auto, spiked cookies. I got a Mephisto auto, sour orange diesel kush, and another cookie melon auto from an obscure breeder I can't remember off the top of my head. And that's about it. And on the breeding side, I now have an F2. So I got that. I had some Crystal Rose send me some sprouted seed. It's a grape pie wedding crasher cross to pie dye. He calls it free lunch. He sells them for $100 a pack. I grew a male out that was very vigorous, too vigorous. I had to move it to a separate tent. it outgrew that space, and I really cut it down prematurely, honestly. So I didn't think the pollen was viable.
Mm-hmm.
So I just took it anyway and hit a little tiny bud on the lower.
Nice.
And honestly, I didn't think there was anything in it. And tonight I found some stuff in it. So I actually have about 30 seeds that are viable to,
There you go,
well, I
man.
hit it to a female too that was similar. So I hit two similar plants together from a visual standpoint. Now I
Yeah.
just smoked the free lunch after I found the seeds. I went and got my jar, not really cured, but I went and smoked it for the first time. I'm high as fuck. So
Nice.
I like it.
Nice. I'm excited for you. So you everybody's getting into the whole creating a inbred line and actually putting all of this stuff to the test, and that's going to be super fun and an exciting journey of actually working the mechanics of this stuff. Yeah, yeah. I'm excited for you. So, what else you got going on? Anybody else going? Anything cool going on in the garden or anything coming up? Events? Girl, bro, you got a situation you got going on that you weekly event that you do?
Yeah, I do the weekly. It's called Turkey Thursdays,
Nice.
and then they have the market on Sundays. So on Thursdays you can catch my brother Dad out there, and Sundays I'm out there. Probably going to be a week or so before we get back on our feet, but we'll be back out there in about a week.
Okay. Thanks, man. Y'all make sure y'all comment, like,
But if you
subscribe.
guys are interested and in the Virginia area, you can hit me up on Instagram for the invite. It's a private event, invite only.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the invite for you. Come see me whenever you want. We'll take care of you.
There you go. There you go. Make sure you tap in with the gang, man, and follow us on all major platforms. Follow this podcast. It's the Unrelatable Podcast Network. We'll be rolling out several shows. This will be one of them, and the guys name this one. I can never remember the freaking name. What's the name of this shit?
We're calling this one Grow Wars.
Grow Wars. So in my defense, they just named it today, so it's not like it's some shit I just can't remember. Grow Wars. So and that's I'll let Grow Bro explain it while I roll my weed.
So the whole premise of it is science versus bro science, and we're on the side of science, and we're here to debunk all the stuff that your favorite YouTubers might be putting out there to the community irresponsibly.
Yeah, a whole bunch of bro knowledge. Yo, somebody give me an example of some bro knowledge that they might have heard from this community, or that they probably thought was the truth or thought was the shit, or and then realize, like, once you learned, you realize, like, oh hell no, you just making shit up.
I mean, the biggest thing is these guys pushing specific brands of nutrients. Once you know NPK, I mean, NPK is NPK.
So that's a good point too. Understanding NPK and the ratio. For those in the audience who might not know what NPK is, what's that stand for?
It's going to be nitrous, phosphorus, and potassium.
There you go. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. All three macronutrients that a plant needs. We like to get into the macro and micronutrients as well, and constantly keep it up to date on our minds, because it really is important, man. Like Gro Bro said, these brands and these companies. Shout out to the sponsors, AC Infinity, man. Shout out to the sponsors, man. A lot of these nutrient companies specifically will just market you with nice logos and colors and pictures, and they target the consumer who might not know as much, or might not be as educated as much, and they do that to to capitalize and make money. And it's the way, it's the American way, right? So ultimately, the more you understand and know, the better position you're in. So that's why we always preach education amongst each other, so that we can always make an educated purchase, especially when it comes to not just companies, but breeders, growers, whatever. You know, so it all starts at home, knowing enough so that you can, you know, you can't point the finger. You always got three pointing back at you. So the more we know, better position we in. That's all I say. That's all I say. That's why we teach this shit. What's some of the most challenging things you think you may face when it comes to breeding?
So for me, it's gonna be selecting, like knowing what I'm looking for out of males, you know, because I mean, if I didn't have you to go to as a resource, like nobody wants to share any info on this kind of stuff. So for like the average new breeder, that's probably going to be the most challenging, is finding solid information. If they're trying to find it in the community, they'll never do it.
Y'all got the sauce though. Y'all know where to go, to the point where you don't even need me no more. Like I gave you the game plan to where to go get it, where to find it, you know, where you need to look. And it's not here. It's not in that community at all. And they don't understand that because that's where you got to get the ground level knowledge, that base knowledge from the real world, right? The dog world, the vegetable plant world, flowers, things like that. That's where you get that ground level knowledge in order to be able to build on it.
It's like you always say, you got to go to something that's not federally illegal to be able to get to that collegiate level, to actually get the knowledge, to get the power you need to do this shit responsibly.
Hell yeah. So with that being said, if you never got that knowledge right there, that ground level from over there, then you would not know enough to keep building on it. If you just came from the hemp cannabis world and that's where you started at, then you just don't know enough to look. But I gave y'all the ground knowledge that came from over there, so that you know already, even if I left and disappeared, you know where to go get it on your own. You know where to, you know, and that's more I can say for anybody in this community. You in good shape. Y'all all in good shape to get it done without me. And that's what I'm saying. I didn't fish for you. I taught you how to fish.
Yeah, and that's honestly what this community lacks, is people that are willing to empower the next person to leave an impact. Like, that's bigger for their legacy than selling $100 packs of seeds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the 100 stack up, boy. No, they definitely stack up. And, you know, but if everybody, and that's the norm, if everybody is just in it for the money, then it's hard, man, for that one guy who's not. You know what I'm saying? That one person who actually in it for the science of it, and actually cares about the health of the plant and the genetic pool. And that just come from the dog world, man. That come from me understanding that when you dealing with life, you know, when you breeding, you do have when you breeding and you start to learn, and you now you start to get your hands dirty and you know what you're doing, comes responsibility. Now it's like I understand that I can create life and I can create I can push recessive traits to the forefront of life, and that can be disease. So I'm creating this life with disease. I'm creating this life. So responsibly, the only way I should be doing that is to isolate and remove those negative traits from that gene pool, so that moving forward, we won't have those issues in the future. 20, 100 years from now, those issues will be dormant somewhere far recessive, and that's responsible. But irresponsible breeder, on the other hand, who's just focused on money, won't care about recessive traits, or won't. They just want to choose.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. They don't even take the lines far enough to figure out what a recessive trait is.
You got,
most of the time, I mean, they're dropping F2s like they're God's gift to the world, when really that's your breeding mechanics, basically. That's when you're looking for the shit you don't want and finding the shit you do want. And then you make your inbred line to get rid of the shit you don't want. Like, but they don't know this shit. They think all you gotta do is back cross or S1 some shit, and now I'm a fucking breeder.
Mm-hmm. And S1s can be very damaging to you. We talked about that, and I mean, you could technically say that this is episode 2. I'm saying episode 1 because this will actually be the first one to be on YouTube. We deleted the original episode, but the first episode is being edited audio version only. So audio wise, it's the second episode. Video wise, it's the first episode. So shout out, make sure you comment, like, subscribe. Make sure you follow everybody on the team too, man. We built this platform on education, man. And if you want to take your game to the next level, whatever it is, growing, breeding, then I would suggest networking with the team, man, and getting with the team. You can follow us on Instagram, but make sure you comment, like, subscribe on this video, and follow the rest of the episodes and shows that we roll out. I mean, this is Grow Wars, episode 2. And it's being pushed out by the Unrelatable Podcast. This Unrelatable Podcast, man. And we'll bring y'all a lot of content moving forward. So stay tuned, look out for that. And I want to keep moving with these topics because.
Hey, another thing, don't forget to join the Discord. Y'all can be on the show yourself if you join into the lounge when we're live.
That's right.
Feel free to join the show.
That's right. We are casting 20 people, including the team. So we want 20 people. A list of 20. As you can see right here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. So we looking for. They haven't officially signed up, but we're looking for about 15 people that want to rock with us and film one day a week right here on. This will be the Garden Wars. Did you say Garden Wars? Grow Wars? I'm terrible, right?
Garden Wars.
Garden Wars, right? I was right.
Yeah, Garden Wars.
There you go. Garden Wars. This is episode 2 of Garden Wars, man. And it's a work in progress. And this is unrelatable, man. So let's look at some more topics. Reproduction, isolation. So biological species concept defines organisms as being the same species if they can breed to make fertile offspring. Reproductive isolation is a series of barriers that prevent interbreeding between species from forming viable offspring. Now, usually it's three things that can come about to create infertility, basically, in this situation. And I think they are going to go over them, so let's look a little bit further. So reproductive isolation keeps species distinct and is therefore critical for speciation. which is the evolutionary process by which populations become distinct species. These barriers can occur before or after the fertilization of an egg by a sperm, which forms a zygote. So it goes right back into what we started with. And the egg and the sperm are known as gametes. Another word that comes up a lot in our breeding journey is gametes. So we focus on language a lot because it helps us to build a strong foundation for understanding the mechanics of natural selection. And just like Bro said, one of the things that he think may be his most challenging thing is not learning this stuff. This is something that I told Bearded months ago. The same thing he just said. So he says it's not learning this stuff, it's actually performing this stuff. And that's what I told Bearded. You know, it's one thing to learn this stuff. It's different to actually perform it and do it. So that's something that is, it's good. It's good that that's one of your concerns, because that shows that you'll be successful. Prezygotic barriers occur before fertilization. So prezygotic, of course, pre means before. Prezygotic barriers occur before fertilization, so it makes sense, making it unlikely or impossible for members of different species to mate. Examples of these barriers include differences in habitats, mating rituals, and genitalia. Post-zygotic barriers, of course, right? After. Post-zygotic barriers occur after fertilization and result in reduced zygote viability or offspring with lower fitness. Basically just saying less chance of a healthy offspring or any offspring at all. Much less chance. So reproductive isolation reduces the gene flow between related species. This allows each species to evolve as a group distinct from other species. The evolution of reproductive isolation in plants is influenced by a number of pre- and post-zygotic barriers. Plants reproduce sexually through pollination. Because of this, sexually reproducing plants are exposed to a variety of interspecies gametes. As a result, plants have developed a variety of mechanisms to prevent the production of hybrids or offspring from two different species. Hybrids typically suffer reduced fitness and sterile, literally. I don't know how to say that word, but sterile. And basically in this whole little paragraph, they basically are just saying, like, with animals, you got some chances that things can happen. You can mix a zebra with a donkey. You can mix a donkey and a horse, yeah. But you're gonna experience post-zygotic barriers afterward, which means that although the mother and the father were able to mate and create an offspring, that offspring will never be able to create offspring. It's sterile completely. And that's due to a post-zygotic barrier of these two animals that should not be put together. This is beyond heterozygosity of just the normal outcross. This is going way beyond. Now we're entering barriers that happen because of. So with that being said, right, in the animal world, it's possible. You may experience issues before the mating, or you may experience issues after the mating, but it's possible in a sense. With plants, it's very rare. This is what they're saying in this paragraph, that with plants, this shit's almost impossible. You may be able to mix a Irish pea with a Mexican pea, yeah, but you're not mixing a pea and a cabbage. Or it's just like with most plants, it just is not gonna work. like that. Like he has to be much more closer, even in order to get, even in order to get a hybrid out of it. So it has to just be much more closer. And animals, it may not necessarily be the same. So, what's your thoughts on that? Anybody?
Well, I think we were talking about that earlier with the berries when I was talking about maybe crossing a berry.
Exactly. Perfect example. Blueberries. And I think Bearded used the joke is or somebody cross it with some elderberries or whatever. And it just may not be possible due to plants not being plants not doing it. So post-zygotic reproductive barriers. Let's look at post-zygotic. So, as mentioned above, post-zygotic reproductive barriers are those that occur after fertilization. These barriers occur after a zygote has formed and reduced the viability or fitness of hybrid zygotes or offspring. And we'll give some examples. So, hybrid, sterilely hybrid. So, mules, there we go. That's the example that I kind of mentioned earlier. Mules are the hybrid offspring of horses and donkeys. They are generally sterile because of chromosomal mismatches between the horse and the donkey. This means that they are unable to pass on their genetic material. This is one example. It's always three when it comes to post-zygotic reproductive. Three, hybrid sterile. That's one sterility, if you want to call it that, if I'm saying it right. But being sterile. And a mule is a perfect example, which is the example I used earlier. A zebra and a horse, or a donkey and a horse. They can successfully create, but that offspring won't ever create.
Another one is a lion and a tiger. The lion is sterile as well.
Exactly. A liger. That 703. That you must go get one of them motherfuckers when you get rich, because you
want one.
Hey, you know a lot about that motherfucking liger, man.
I need one. I'm gonna give me one. I'm gonna be like Mike Tyson, man. Have me one just running around the crib.
Damn. Hey, man. You know what? Shout out to Mike Tyson and all them animals he got at the damn crib. And one of them fucking get loose, you're in trouble. All right, so the second situation would be low hybrid viability. Certain species of frog can form hybrid tadpoles. However, the hybrids are not viable and die before they can become sexually mature. And that's low hybrid viability. In most cases, the offspring die before they become sexually mature. Yep. And zygote mortality. Which I believe. Well, no. Let's just go into it. Zygote mortality is possible for goats and sheep to mate, and for fertilization to occur, but genetic differences result in a zygote that does not develop properly and will die. So that's just basically guaranteed mortality. So those three situations will occur. One of those three situations will always occur when we're dealing with post-zygotic reproductive barriers, either hybrid sterile, low hybrid viability, or zygote mortality. Damn, oof, I'm getting tied up in my own language, man. And that's why we focus on language so much and operating at a higher language. And it's not even, it's basic language in this world, right? In the world of science, this is basic language. But I'm thinking in terms of the cannabis community, it's not basic language, because this is where we challenge bro knowledge with actual science. So shout out to them. This is the first episode, second episode, audio. This is Garden Wars, baby. Garden Wars. I'm gonna remember that motherfucker. Give me a round of applause for that. Hey, this is Garden Wars, man. This the second episode of Garden Wars, and we lit. Shit, we lit, man. Let's look at prezygotic and postzygotic isolation. Prezygotic isolation describes barriers that mean members of different species are unlikely or unable to mate. They're categorized as temporal isolation, differences in mating seasons; behavioral isolation, differences in mating rituals; habitat isolation, living in different habitats; or mechanical isolation, incompatible genitalia. However, some species are similar enough that prezygotic isolation does not occur. As a result, postzygotic isolation is necessary to keep the species separate. Generally, both pre- and postzygotic barriers occur to influence speciation in a population. So, any thoughts on that? Anybody? Does that all make sense as far as what you already know? Or do we need to dive into it a little more? Those two, postzygotic and prezygotic barriers, how they occur, and how they can affect offspring.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Posts are the ones that happen before you make the offspring, and then, or no, post or after, and pre or before.
There you go. And it's happening simply because we are breeding. So we understand with our level that we learned so far what a hybrid is. And a hybrid is okay. A hybrid is normal. Now we learning the next level of understanding hybrids and how hybrids should only be done at within a certain range of each other, if that makes sense. Versus if it's too far apart genetically, if those chromosomes don't match up, then there is no hybrid. Now we going against science. So when we go against science, we run into reproductive barriers. Reproductive barriers.
Post barriers.
Yep, post or pre, either one.
Yeah.
Either one. So when we know when we're too far apart, we most likely will run into a pre. It's not even going to happen. And that's and when we dealing with post, we close enough to get it done, but those, three things will happen: either hybrid sterile, which means that offspring will never produce; low hybrid viability, which means once that offspring reaches sexual maturity, it's going to be sick enough to die. It'll probably die by that time, if not sooner, but definitely by the time of sexual maturity. And then zygote mortality, where it's just going to die probably stillborn, or most likely stillborn. That's what that means. It doesn't even ever grow. Never even makes it out the womb. And those are the three things that can occur, man. It's next level hybrid understanding, right? We only understood hybrid for at a certain level. For now we understand hybrid at a next level, because in the plant world it doesn't happen. When you dealing with cannabis and you breeding cannabis, you already dealing with closely related subjects. They already closely related. You dealing with cannabis to cannabis. How simple is that? You understand how this is A plus B is C and 1 plus 1 is 2. This is really, really basic when we think in terms of the cannabis world, and what we do there is so simple. When you step outside, even they said it here, man, none of this is happening in the cannabis world, because it's like almost a template for breeding there, where this is not possible, that's not possible. If you want to breed, you have to put these two together. And that's what people do. Go try to breed a cannabis plant with a lemon tree. for the terpene profile, or breed a cannabis plant with some violet or whatever you call it, lavender, for the terpene. It's not gonna happen. It's impossible. You're not even gonna get no pre-zygotic barriers. You're definitely not gonna get post-zygotic, because it was never will happen. It's just everything set up as a template. It's really easy. It's really basic. And then when you step outside of that into the real world of natural selection and hybridization of animals, it's the real world, man. That's where this language comes from. This language is not necessary in the cannabis or the plant world. So why is it necessary to you if you operate in the plant world? Because I would never want to be labeled as a plant breeder, a cannabis plant. I don't even know if that's a thing. I don't think that's a thing. Botanist is a term, but they don't deal with cannabis. They learn from vegetables and flowers and all of these different plants from around the world, and then breeders is they dealing with animals from all different species, scientists in laboratories, and so this is where it's at, man. That was a good conversation. What y'all got for me, man? What y'all got? Y'all got any closing? Buzz, what you got, man? Tell us about this beautiful garden my brother runs. First of all, me and my brother got a collaboration out right now, Dead Man's Gelato. Y'all make sure y'all look out for that. It's his Colorado gelato. I named that too. It was the Gelato 33, but we called it Colorado Gelato because it's being naturally selected for outdoor grow right there in the mountains of Colorado. We took that outdoor strain and we crossed it with my Dead Ops OG to make something special, man. And it's called Dead Man's Gelato. So each year he runs his Colorado Gelato. You can follow him on Instagram, BuzzBuzz420, and you can follow his journey. He's about to start his journey of his harvest. So tell us a little bit about what you got going on, Buds.
Well, I got 3 Dead Ops mama plants, so I'll be cutting clones off of them in the next couple days.
Oh, shit.
And then we got about 50 of the Colorado Gelato. We'll be upgrading them to about a 2-gallon pot, and hopefully in about a month they'll be going outside. But then we got a Titan strain we're running. We got about 50 of them. And I think that's about it. I thought there was more. Might actually be like 60 and 60 because I know we got more than 100 plants.
Yeah, I got you. That's dope, man. Jimmy, you was on mute, man. If you was trying to say something, I don't know what he was doing. He just threw me off. He came in dancing for a minute. No, that's fine. Everybody's always excited to watch Buzz because he makes these big, huge, beautiful, huge plants outside, man. And it's all everybody's always amazed. So y'all make sure you follow these, everybody's journey, man. Bearded, what you got in store?
I got all kinds of stuff working right now. Actually, this whole time we've been in this conversation, I've been transplanting seedlings. I had like 17 seedlings I had to transplant.
Oh my goodness, what the
hell? So always just, looking out for the next thing. Right now, I'm just worried about my inbred line more than anything.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of focus on that, making sure that I do things right and bring some good products for the community.
Yeah. How important is it for you to bring good genetics through actual selection?
Probably the most important thing you know, when it comes to it, because it's like, if I'm not going to do that, then why am I doing this? There's enough people doing the opposite right now.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many, even the big companies, man. But shout out to everybody.
But I mean, I think that's what it comes down to. I think if anyone was running their own business, isn't their goal to always bring the best product or, you know, service that they can? I mean, I don't think anyone ever does something and goes, man, I'm gonna just be mediocre. I'm gonna just skate by. You know what I mean? I think that's just kind of the mindset you got to keep when you're in this stuff, is treat your customers the way you want to be treated. And if you want to be treated the right way, then in this case, you need to bring some good genetics to the table. You need to do the work.
Yeah. Yep. Can't say it better myself. Jimmy, what up? Jimmy said he busy. All right, man. Well, this is the Unrelatable Podcast Network, man. We'll be dropping a lot of content for y'all coming soon. This is the Grow Wars series here. Grow Wars. I'm going to remember that name after this episode. Y'all remember that shit. This is technically episode 1, so you can't hold it against me, but I'm going to remember that name, Grow Wars. We challenging all bro knowledge. Y'all got any bro knowledge y'all want to challenge before we get up out of here?
We'll save that up for the true episode 2.
Yeah. All right, well, thank y'all for rocking with us, man. Make sure y'all comment, like, subscribe, follow the team on Instagram, follow the gang, man, and catch us, all our content we got planned for the future, man.